What is good, guys? Today we're going to be talking about boats, essentially. You know, I've always been into water, fishing, outboard motors, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. In all honesty though, we're going to be taking a look at this R33 Skyline here. The owner of this car, his name is Wayne. He's a good friend of mine, also an amazing customer for us here at Aoba-Ku Garage. He came to us a few years ago with this car. Initially it was for his missus, but then as he bolted more and more parts on and we started looking at power figures and things like that, he wanted to keep it for himself, I guess. Bought his missus another car, and we then turned it into a bit of a monster for him. He's been thrashing on it, having a whole bunch of fun for like the last year and a half or so, and he's just brought it in for a whole bunch more upgrades to turn it into even more of a monster. And you'll understand what I mean now. Like, I'd be comfortable where this is at now if it was my car, but Wayne's a crazy dude and he loves big power, and I'm sure you're watching this, Wayne. Put a comment down in the description and tell us all what your plans are with this, because I don't want to spoil the surprise. But anyways, we're going to take this for a drive today. We're going to give you guys like a good walk around, show you everything about the car. It's going to be awesome. Let's jump into it. All right, so let's do a quick kind of walk around the car. I am a huge fan of this color scheme. I love any R33 that's in like a kind of darkish reddish color. So to see this in a nice maroon like this with a gloss black boot and the GTR wing, I just think it ticks all the boxes, especially with the wheel combo. I'm a huge fan of the Lenzo D1R wheels. The matte black looks awesome. I've got on mine the Hyper Silver ones, if you were wondering. So I'm a huge fan of how Wayne has this car set up, especially the gloss black hood. It just matches really nice with the whole car. Obviously we're looking at an R33 Series 1 front end. And if you look in here, you can kind of start to see a bit of cherry red powder coating that matches the bodywork on his intercooler piping that then comes into his big ass intercooler there. There's an oil cooler in there as well. All in all, this car is amazing and a really clean, well looked after like body and chassis. It's really straight. It just looks good. Like, it looks like an R33 and how it should look, you know what I mean? All right, let's pop the hood. Okay, so here's the engine bay, and straight off the bat, you can tell that this thing means business. So let's do a quick run through of everything here, starting with the turbo, because that's the thing that makes the coolest noise, right? This is a Gen 1 GTX 3576R, so it's quite responsive for its front compressor size. It's got a custom steam pipe top mount manifold, really nice dump pipe that curls down there and is heat wrapped for heat management. Straight away, you can probably also tell that his cam covers, intake manifold, even the intercooler piping has all been powder coated to suit the color scheme of the entire car, which I think is just like, it's perfect. He's running 1000cc injectors. This is one of our very first Aoba-Ku Garage intake manifolds that we just released. This was like the very first one we ever made, and it went straight onto Wayne's car. So you can tell this because it's Gen 1. It's got the vac ports on the top there, and there's a few differences with like throttle body, fuel rail, and the ISCV valve and stuff like that. That's all been progressed from here. Yoshimura radiator, Yoshimura intercooler, massive PWR fan that moves a whole bunch of CFM, and the car's just set up for having a lot of fun and making a decent amount of power. So looking at the engine bay now, that's pretty much the gist of it, and a quick run through of everything. Hopefully that answers all your questions. One other thing I nearly forgot is this is run by a Link G4 Plus plug-in ECU, just like with my R33, so it's set up for having a lot of fun. So anyways, let's move to the interior and take this thing for a drive. So moving into the interior, it's pretty much a standard R33 interior, and everything is pretty well clean and tidy until you start seeing the places where the sun here in Australia hits, like here where it's like melting a bit of that polymer cover, so like coating that they put on from the factory, and then like here, this is a big thing on these 33s. In Australia, when the sun's like hitting here and heats this up a lot and you close and open your door, this gets really brittle and breaks easily. So there are a few things that we're probably going to help Wayne source a few parts for that and fix that up. You can see his digital display here for his GFB GeForce 2 boost controller. It's got a head deck, couple gauges, all the usual stuff you need to know. You know, what your motor's doing and if you need to shut it off and stuff. He's running what looks like a Monza Auto Technica wheel, which I don't really know much about that brand. I think it's just like a generic super cheap kind of brand wheel. Doesn't seem to have any flex in it, which is in my books, as long as it's a strong wheel and doesn't have any flex or any potential to break, I'm okay with that. So anyways, I think that pretty much covers it. Like I said, it's a pretty standard interior, looks quite clean, and replace a few parts here and there that wear out from the sun, and it'll look almost as good as new. So anyways, let's jump straight into the test drive. All right, so I'm taking the car for a bit of a test drive now. And the first thing that I've kind of noticed is just how the steering and the shifter and the seat, just the driving position setup is much like kind of meant for a shorter person than me. So the seat's much higher at the moment because it's got the factory 33 wheel. The steering wheel's as high as it would go, but it's really low for me. And the shifter is kind of tall as well. So that's a bit difficult for me to kind of navigate and get used to. But overall, it still feels like a nice 33. Now I haven't gotten on boost or anything. We'll do that now and see what it's like. The clutch is really tight and good too. All right, here we go. Woo! That gate. That sounds awesome. All right, second gear. Bit of a pull. Woo-hoo! Oh man, this is fun. It's really like my 33 back in Japan. So full boost kicks in at about 4,500, 5,000, which makes sense because it's a pretty big front housing, 35 GTX 3576R. So we'll do another U-turn and have a bit more of a play with it. The dose is awesome though. That sounds great. And the wastegate, oh, so much want for a proper wastegate on my car in Japan, hey. Just get that nice sound, get rid of the bob and just have that compressor surge. It sounds so good. Man, this thing is a monster. When this thing comes on full boost, it's scary. And it grips, so it just throws you back in your seat. Oh man, this thing is brilliant. I can deal with the turbo lag with something like this. This is so good. And it's only on 14 PSI. This thing is nuts. Feels so good and it's only 14. Oh, the turbo compressor surge is what does it for me. Oh, this is a beautiful car, Wayne. I think this is like another Skyline goals video for me, because this is just like the way this car handles is exactly how I want my R33.4 in Japan to sound. Like seriously, this thing is mental. It's cool. And it's only 14 PSI. That's like only 1 bar. That's pretty much the same boost my 33 is in Japan. Man, this thing's a lot of fun. Okay, so right off the bat, this car is a lot of fun to drive, and I could definitely have a lot of fun with this out on a track. The way it handles is very similar to my 33 in Japan, which is obvious because, you know, they're both the same chassis, but just like the power band and stuff like that is quite similar as well. Now this one is a little bit more laggy, just because it's got the bigger compressor, the 35 and stuff there. But you could really fine tune this and make it a whole bunch more responsive and even more powerful, which is obviously what Wayne has brought it here to do. So what's awesome about this is his like first big step on the car. Was he built it to this, he's been driving this and having fun, and now he's like, you know what, let's make it more responsive, let's make it even more powerful and just go nuts. So I'm very interested to see how this car's going to react and feel when it's finished with all the extra mods that he's about to do to it. And I'm actually pretty pumped to see some pictures start flowing in while I'm back in Japan of the guys doing the work on this car, because it's going to turn into a monster. So I'll share some of that on my Insta story as well, so you guys can keep up to tabs on where this car's at and what it's doing. But overall, this thing is fun to drive. I love it. The only things that I have to critique it about is obviously, try to get the turbo lag down a little bit, which is, all fun and games with tunes and stuff like that, cams. You can also do a bunch of stuff with, exhaust manifolds, getting something a little bit more flowy. And obviously just mucking around with your turbo housings and stuff like that as well is a good way to get it a bit more responsive. Or you could just go and put a big massive turbo on there and get a NOS button. But the only other thing that I have to say is just seating position for me does not suit me, and that's okay because it's not my car, and I'm sure it suits Wayne well, and he is very comfortable driving this. But otherwise, this thing is an awesome little car, and like I said, I'm just excited to see Wayne's reaction when it's even more crazier than this, I guess. So anyways, I'm gonna shut the car off now and we're gonna head inside. All right, so that was a whole bunch of fun and I thoroughly enjoyed driving Wayne's car, getting a feel for it and kind of just going through it all with you guys. Tell me what you guys thought in the comment section. I'd love to hear some more communication from you guys so I can interact more with you and maybe show a little bit more of what you guys want, if that's what you guys want, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, so just thoroughly enjoying like going through and showing you guys all these different types of cars, and there's a few more of these kinds of videos coming. If you don't forget the EK9 Civic, that'll be here I think tomorrow. We might be shooting a video on that, so that'll be fun as well. It's a really hot day today. It's like 30 degrees and the humidity is like 90% or something, so I'm like not used to this weather at all, and it's kind of killing me a little bit with the work that I've been doing in the workshop. But anyways guys, once again, thanks heaps for watching. Make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe. Join the Discord. Hit up all my social media down in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Ja mata ne!